Hi and welcome. In this video tutorial, we are going to go through how to debug a Node.js application. So over here I have a Node application that is Node.js starter. It's from my project. I will show you the link. So I'm going to open it with Visual Studio Code. Here is just a sample application with a very simple Express server that is running and returning a ping endpoint. So it's just like an Express server that is returning an endpoint for ping pong. So it's going to listen at some port. So this is the existing project, and the idea is we are going to add some script in order to enable debugging in Visual Studio Code. So I'm going to make some change to the project in order to start debugging. So first of all, I want to make a new build. Let's install the project dependencies, and yeah, we don't have yet project dependent the node modules, so I'm going to, and also the package.json is a little bit outdated, so I'm going to just remove the yarn.log so that it will install from beginning with the updated version of node.js with node modules. So in the meantime, while it is running, we are going to make some quick changes to the project repository. So there are some package.json. I'm going to remove the package.json. I'm going to remove some of the script, and here I'm using Babel to transpile the source into the output directory, that is the disk. But with another, I want to add another command for debugging, and so it will be Babel source and out dir this, and I want to have source map enable from Babel, so that when I do debugging, it will be able to point to me what is the original source file. So let's see if yarn finish. So the project, when it starts, it is a very simple Node.js Express application. Over here in the server, actually I have an await that is calling MongoDB testing, but I'm going to uncomment it right now, and let's just see that the server is running at this port or not. So it is default running on port 3000, but we are going to change it as well. So let's see over here, I'm having a port 3000, but I'm going to get it from process.env.port, and I can pass the port when I'm running the application. If it is not specified, I'm going to pass in 3000 or 4000. So now the script to start a project is node yarn dev. So we start a project with dev yarn dev. It started with using nodemon, and now server is running at port 4000. So let's open another terminal window, and then from here I can see if the ping returning any response. I'm going to query it with CURL, and localhost 4000 and ping. Now it returns Pong. So the application is a very simple application. It works now. It gives no errors on running. The idea is we want to add the functionality to debug the application using Visual Studio Code. In order to debug, this application is written with Babel, so there are some syntax, for example, import from, and the new syntax that is not that we have to use Babel to transpile into the older JavaScript that is located here. So let's run, for example. So when we run the dev, it is already building to the this directory, and we can see here that it is the ES5 JavaScript with the traditional var and export over here. But when debugging, we want to debug the application with the source file in this directory. So the source is written with this syntax, import from, and the server is also written with the new syntax. So let's try to see if we want to have a breakpoint over here, and we will run, we will go to here. So we have to add some more stuff in our package.json file. So we want to have a source map when we build with debug mode, and for testing I'm going to make another test that it is running. So the first test will run entirely, but the second test I'm going to put another one called silent. And for dev, I'm going to add a new comment, yarn restart. So I would like to have like an inspect that will do inspection, restart and inspect, yarn build, and over here I want to have a source map, so I will run yarn build with the source map over here, and the start command I want to start with the start inspect command. So inspect, and from here I'm going to define a new start inspect. That basically if you do is that it will do an inspect on the default on some kind of port. So the node we want to also maybe require the .env, so that we will use the .env later on. And the inspect we will put at port the default values, and then some random 90. The default inspection port is 92.29. So we can say inspect is equal to this, and we can omit the port, but over here we can put in whatever values we want to. So I'm going to put in 92.29. So, and the start command we also want to have a require.env config. So right now we have the mechanism to run the dev command with the restart inspect, and then from inspect it will start with the inspect over here. So it will be able to, now we will be able to let's run this server again, yarn dev, over here it says that okay, debugger is now listening on this WebSocket. So the WebSocket is now running, is listening on listening, and then we can go back to VS Code. We can go to the debugger, debug, and open configurations. Debug, add configuration. So we want to add a node configuration, or maybe we can just add a new one. So add. So we want to attach to the port, right? Just have an attach to the port 9229, and then over here we can put a breakpoint on this. So let's try to see if it is debugging. Start debugging. Now it says that it is attaching, and what if now we query curl 4000 and ping. Okay, now it stopped here, and we can see the actual values from, for example, the response or the request object. So for example, we put here the request. We can also see what is the request object. So let's stop. Maybe let's change to debugging. Actually, we don't need to stop the server to debug. So request, and then over here we can put a value called. So if we and now start debugging, debug, start debugging. Run the CUR command again. We will be able to also see the request that is coming. So from here in the debugger, we can say okay. We can go to this screen, request. Okay, what is the request? Request dot header, for example, or parent. It's an object with nothing. Request dot query or request dot path is a ping. Request dot path is a ping. Okay, so instead of doing console.log, we can go here, inspect the object, and see what is the request. If it's a post request, it also comes with a body. If it's this is all of the headers, the accept, host, user agent. So we query from curl. Here there are a lot more information. The method is get, original URL is ping, the path is ping. We can see, we can be able to debug the values over here. So that is the first thing I want to show, how to debug the application written using modern JavaScript, and then we can use Babel to transpile the files into a distribution, and then from here we have the source maps that is mapping to the original file, and we have some scripts available to run the dev and to start the inspection mode, so that we can do debugging in VS Code. So that is the first part. And for the second one, what if we want to have a Docker file that is running, and then from this Docker file we will be able to also do some debugging. So I will start by writing a simple Docker file. This Docker will start from the Node version 10 and Slim. We will start with a work dir of USR and source and app, and we want to copy the package.json. We want to copy also the yarn.log, and then we want to run yarn install or just yarn. Now we want to copy everything, and we want to expose port 4000, and we specify the entry point of yarn and the def command, because in this docker compose file, in this docker file, so it is like a development docker file. We put in a .def over here, something like this. So in a production docker file, I will start a docker entry point with the only production one and not a dev development script. Okay, so we have a docker file. Let's try to build this. Docker build. So we maybe I want to when I do a docker file, I want to also have some some configuration. So in order to use some of this configuration, maybe I will just have another docker compose, docker-compose.ymf file, and then from here I'm going to also define some of the dependency, some of the configuration for the ports and the volumes, etc. So we can just start by a version 3, very simple docker file like this, so that we have a server that is building with the context of the current context, and then the docker file is the docker file.dev, and we want to have a restart of on failure. We want to have an N5 that is running on the a.env, so that we can pass in any environment variables over there. And then for the ports, we want to map the from 4000 to 4000, and default 92.29 to 92.29. So this is the inspection port for debugger, and we also want to map it outside so that it can listen to volumes. We want to map the current volume to the USR and the source and the app, and also from the source and app and node modules, we want to take it from the container and not from the current repository. So let's try to give it a try. Docker compose up. Now we can start this server and we can run docker compose up. Okay, it says that we do not have an N5 yet, so I'm just going to save it with an empty file now, and we try to run it again. So while it is building, we can go back to the application and check if we can do some more improvements. So in this dev over here, we have a configuration for a MongoDB database, and maybe we can extract these values as a process.env.mongo URL, and we put it into the .env file. Where's the .env, and we'll put it here, Mongo URL, as these values. So we want to start a Docker, and with a configuration of and also over here we can put in the port of 4000, and here is an equal. So it seems that it is now starting. And so how do we debug the logger? How do we debug the can it still work if we just start with the normal launch.json over here, because we are exposing to port 9229, and if we attach it to port 9229, and here on the server we put a breakpoint over here, so will it work? Let's give it a try. Start debugging. It is listening to port 9229, and it doesn't say that breakpoint set, but not yet bound. It doesn't bound to anything yet. So let's try to see if it is running. CURL localhost 4000 and ping. It just return pong. It doesn't go to here. So why is it that now the debugger start on the same port 9229? It's exposed to exposed to the outside from this ports configuration in dev in the docker compose file. So we have here as a 9229, but it doesn't do anything. So I guess we have to change the configuration a little bit in order to work with remote Docker. So the launch.json, it is not simply this anymore, but we have to add a new configuration attached to process or to remote program. Okay, attached to a remote program, what does it need to do? So we can name it attached to remote. The IP address is our IP address of the process to be debugged. So we can put here our local machine, because we are starting on local machine, and the local root is our workspace folder, so it is by default. And the remote root is the absolute path to the remote directory containing the program. So we map our working directory to the usr.source.app, and so So hopefully it will be able to locate to the remote root directory in this folder. So let's give it a try now. Debug, start debugging, and if we come back to the server, now it says that breakpoint. Hopefully it will work. So CURL and pong, it go here again. So now we are debugging using Docker, using the contents from the Docker and Docker Compose, Dockerfile and Docker Compose. It's now possible to do debugging from the Docker file. So that's a good. What can we do next? The next thing we can do is here in the application, I have a small scripts to just test if the connection to the MongoDB is successful. And what I want to do now is just like simply connect to the server, connect to the Mongo database, and waiting for this until it is connected. So let's see, what does the connect do? Connect, it will try to connect to a URL, and the options db.url, it is coming from the config. So the config, it has the base config, so which is this one, db.url, and it is getting from, we just make a small change to get it from the Mongo URL, and the Mongo URL is in the environment. We put it here in the environment. My debugger is not giving, it's not trying to show it. Okay, so it is at localhost. But now since we are connected to the Docker Compose Dockerfile, we have to put these values into to put a new service in the Docker Compose, so that we can also start a new Mongo. So in the Docker Compose file here we have the Mongo with an image. We could use the Mongo latest one, and on restart we just choose always environment. So we also want to put an environment Mongo initdb root username. So normally this value we will put it into an environment variable or the secret, and but in this simple example I'm going to put it here as well. So let's have a Mongo running, and we want to start a server that is depends on this Mongo, and on the package, and now we have this Mongo. We can come back to the environment. We say that it is not anymore localhost, but we will refer to it using the network, using the service name that we define here in the Docker Compose. So exactly this service name here, service name Mongo, we go to here, and let's give it a try. So I will start the server now, and docker compose up. Now it is starting both the Mongo server and the Express server at the same time, and it seems that it is now connected to the MongoDB instance. Using this URL over here. And can we still debug it? Hopefully. Console server server, and hopefully we can still do a ping on port 4000 and it return pong. We haven't started debugger yet, so start the debugging, and we do another ping. It will go here. Okay, cool. So we are debugging directly with the so to recap, what have we done? So in the we have a nodejs starter application where we have some scripts to run the project directly using build debug, and then start with the inspection. With the inspection at this localhost and the port default port 29.92.29. And the first thing is, like, when we start, we have the we run it the package.json, the launch.json with this simple attach, so attach to port 92.29. And for the other configuration, launch configuration, we are doing it because we introduce a docker compose that is building the current directory with the docker file and a and a Mongo instance. So over here we also expose the ports 92.29 to outside, and also the server port with have. And with that we are able to start the server, and also in the launch configuration we can attach to the remote on this address and the port 92.29 and local root, workspace folder, and remote root of source, user, source, and app. So that is all I have now with the config, development, testing. So here we already changed the testing. We can also export this one to process.env.mongo URL and db index, and the server will return ping with pong, and we are waiting for this. We're updating the package.json. We have the docker compose, we have a docker file. The other thing that we can do is we can have a Docker file for production. So we can say Docker file only, and we will do the same from node 10 slim. We put in the work layer of user source app, and we also copy the package.json to the current to the app directory. We also copy the yarn.log into this directory, and then we run yarn install only production, because we are on production, and we will copy everything. We will expose the port 4000 and the entry pawn. We will put in the yarn command with the yarn start, and so this is the production Docker build. Production Docker file. Okay, that's all I have. So until the next time, see you.